When is it gonna end? This winter's been insane, yo. We had count them, two super mild winters in a row. But this ain't one of them. We've been getting hammered. But anyway, it's just about the end of February. So, March will probably be much of the same. But spring is coming. Hey, on last week's show, I told you about my pal who came up from Maryland and brought the Old Bay. And I think I mentioned briefly, without going into detail, the Mid-Valley Peace Accord, where this guy, Todd, invited a mutual friend of ours, the Al guy, who I hadn't seen in quite a few years, and he hadn't seen in many more years. And then when we found out he was coming for dinner, I invited Tom Buddy of Whiskey with Tom fame, who hadn't seen the Al guy in at least 25 years. So we had just the four of us, guys' dinner. I put up a Yankee pot roast. We had a great evening. It was reminiscing. And the Al guy came bearing gifts, one of which was passed along the Mal Evans bio, which I'm deeply engrossed in right now. Thank you, pal. But even better than that is, I'll show you what he brought. It's over on the marble right now. Come on, let's do it. Come on, let's do it. So these guys have been going on an annual fishing trip to Alaska every year for who knows how long. I've heard about the shenanigans up there, but then they ship home their catch. And the Al guy brought me two of these. I had one the other night. Absolutely exquisite. You are not getting wild caught salmon like this at your fishmonger, all right? This is Alaskan salmon, and it's absolutely fantastic. Now, the freezing process and thawing, do you get a little bit of textural degradation? Yes, you do, but it's not going to affect it, and if you cook it properly. All right, there's a few pin bones. I ate them out the other night. I'm going to pull these out off camera. I'll get all the pin bones out, and then I'll show you what we're going to do. Let me pull those out. Pin bones out. There they are. And don't think I'm going to let that beautiful salmon meat go to waste. We're going to broil this. That's why I have them in this metal dish. This is going right under the broiler, and we'll have these little tiny lollipops. Use my trusty cleaned up pair of pliers to get all those pin bones out, and look at that skin. Isn't that beautiful? Salmon skin is one of my favorite things to eat on the planet. So what I did is I took a serrated knife and I just lightly scored it. All right, I don't want to go deep into the flesh. I went a little too deep there, but I just want a little bit of the skin to be scored. Now, completely bone free. There's a couple of small ones, but you know what? Those are marginal. You can almost eat those. They're so tiny. But I'll pull them out with my hands. I don't even need the pliers for those. The big ones are out. So what we're going to do is I have my usual Asian suspects here. Zhaojing wine, some light soy, sesame oil, hoisin. I didn't pull it out. I'm going to get a little oyster sauce, and I'm going to improv a little coating. The other night I did this completely like Italian. I used extra virgin oil, lemon juice. I broiled it, salt, and then after it came out, parsley. It was phenomenal. So since I already did that, he gave me two of these, by the way. And these are, I just weighed this. It's about 3/4 of a pound. So let's, first, before we mess with this, let's do the sides. I'm going to do a little rice. It's going to take 15 minutes. So let's get it on. A simple long grain white rice. I've got about 1/2 cup here. About 3/4 cup of water. I always try to go about 1 to 1.5 on my long grain rice. And just for kicks, because I see it up here, I'm going to put in a pinch of turmeric for color. It'll also add flavor. It's also a very healthy spice. So a little turmeric. The rice will come out yellow, but let's add some black pepper because you know that activates the health properties of the turmeric. So a little black pepper. That's it. I'm going to put this on I'll bring it to a boil, tight lid, low, 15 minutes. I'll take care of that on the stove. Okay, the rice is on. The zucchini. Now I could do this in a pan, but I'm gonna roast it. And I'll cut these sort of triangular style chunks, kind of big, and we'll put those on our pan here with parchment paper. And what are we going to use on these? We're going Asian, so I'm just going to use a little rice wine vinegar. I also just popped the Breville on roast 400. I don't know if it's the mic's picking it up. It makes a little noise while it... Rice vinegar. I'll put just a drop or two of mirin, which is the sweeter rice vinegar. Just a touch of that. And that's it. I want to taste the zucchini. So this is going to go in roast at 400. So let's put our little lollipops right there, and I'll pop this in the Breville. Zucchini and lollipops are in the oven. Rice is on the stove. Back burner as low as it can go. Tight lid. I got the timer on 15. So I'm sure we'll hear that beep together. Let's make a little glaze for this salmon. Let me get in closer. Much better. Okay. Zhaojing wine. One of my favorite things in the kitchen. Just a touch. We're just going to glaze the fish. I want to taste that salmon. The Chinese light soy. Is this from China? I have, yes, this is the Chinese soy. I have so many different ones. I had the Filipino. I went a little haywire with soy sauce there a while back. And it's very interesting, the amount of variation in flavor. Sesame oil. Now this is not a traditional Asian thing. I'm just messing around because I have all this different stuff and I don't get to use it. I shouldn't say I don't get to. I can use it whenever the heck I want. But I don't use it on a regular basis. And I'd rather use it than toss it out after 8 months to a year, right? Hoisin, which has some sugar in it. I'm trying to avoid the sugar, but what are you going to do? Oyster, same. But I'll just put a drop. We're not going to use all of this. We're just going to put a touch of it as a glaze on the surface of the fish. Let's see. Let's give this a taste. Yeah, they all work together nicely. Beautiful. Let's get that fish over here. And like I say, okay, now I can back up. We do want to taste the fish predominantly. But let's take this and just put a thin coating and really get it on that fish. Now, the fact that we pulled out those pin bones, there's plenty of now open cavity for this stuff to really get into that salmon. That's all we need. I'm not going to use it all. Thin glaze. By the way, I got so excited. I never did pull those other small pin bones. But, you know, the other night when I did the Italian, I didn't pull any. I just ate around them. You just have to be aware when you eat fish that has bones in it. You just eat it and you sort of feel around in your mouth for the bones. All right, now at serving time, we've got some scallion, got a half an avocado, and some sesame. We're going to toast these. So let's do that now because we're waiting for the zucchini before we put the fish in. All right, I'm getting pretty pumped. I can smell the rice with the turmeric. 9 minutes and 15 seconds left to go. Let's pull down the cast iron, get a flame under that, and we're just going to pop in some sesame seeds and toast them up. They take on a nice flavor when they're lightly toasted. You got to keep an eye on them. You do not want to burn these, okay? Okay, let me move the camera and we'll do it together. I am not going to walk away from this. Take this. That is not the zucchini done, and that is not the rice. That is the Breville telling me it's up to temp. That's the preheat alarm. But I just threw the rack in and let it warm up. Let the food warm up with the, I don't like this for this. Let me get, here's what I want. A little spatula action. Just want these lightly golden. Now, they're releasing their oils, so they're sticky. They're not gonna, you can't shake the pan around. That's why it's crucial to do this. Keep them moving, because they will start to become lightly golden, and then they'll suddenly turn. They'll suddenly get dark brown and get a little bitter. And especially with the cast iron, because you know how it grabs heat. Once this gets up, it's gonna be hot. So as soon as I see the slightest color on these, I'm going to turn the flame off and let the cast iron do the work. I actually see a little smoke coming off. I see a couple of them getting orange. I see a couple of them jumping into the stove, which I just cleaned. But as I always say, I'm going to clean up so I can make a mess. And I can smell them, so I'm going to turn the heat off. The cast iron has got plenty of heat of its own, and just let them, they're starting to see, even with the flame off, I see them starting to color. So that's all we need. We'll leave them just in the cast iron, and they'll finish themselves up. We're just waiting now for a little caramelization on the zucchini. And then we'll switch that rack to broil. In fact, let's go over there and check, because I don't want to overcook my little lollipops. Let's see what's going on in here. It's on 400. Yeah, they're done. Let's let that cool down a minute. They don't have anything on them. They're raw. Just salmon. But again, they were not going to go to waste. Zucchini's starting to brown up. Let's give that a few more minutes, and then we'll flip this up and do the fish. Okay, let's try a lollipop. Get one with a good bunch of meat on it here. Didn't think I was letting that salmon clean into those rib bones. Get away from me, do you? All right, we're waiting for the zucchini. I'll read you one paragraph from Living the Beatles Legend. The untold story of Mal Evans. Really getting into this. Thanks, pal. Now, where I am in the book, right about here, Mal is now full-time working for the Beatles. He started out as a fan at the Cavern, then drove their truck a little, almost as a favor. And now he has been hired away from his general post office job and is a full-time roadie with the Beatles. Before the concert that night, George Martin arrived bearing the incredible news that the band's latest single, I Want to Hold Your Hand, still 3 weeks away from its UK release, had already amassed more than 1 million advance orders. After witnessing the boys' whoops of delight, Alistair Taylor watched the performance with Mal from backstage. As the Beatles finished up their set with Twist and Shout, Mal told Taylor to begin making his way to the limo. In a minute, Mal, I'm enjoying this, Taylor replied. At this point, the roadie, determined to protect life and limb for the band and their entourage, whispered something very uncomplimentary in Alistair's left ear, which left him no doubt that he had no choice in the matter. And sure enough, Taylor settled into the passenger seat just in time to see the Beatles hurl themselves one after another into the waiting limousine. With local police acting as their escort, The Austin Prince has disappeared into the night, eluding the Beatles' more zealous fans in the nick of time. Great book. Great fish. All right, let's get in there and see how the zucchini's doing. I'm pretty pumped to get that fish in there. Okay, the zucchini's looking good over there. I flipped it around a few times, trying to get those surfaces browned. The rice is done and resting. I have not looked at it. Don't be tempted to open your rice as soon as the buzzer goes off or as soon as the time's up. Let it rest. You'll get perfect rice every time. Let me peel this avocado. We're just waiting on the zucchini. Now, most Asian families I know, they swear by the rice cooker. I do not have a rice cooker. But, you know, generally what they're doing is they're making rice every day for the family. So it makes sense. For the amount of times I make rice in my life, I don't eat it every day. I don't even eat it every week. The pot method is fine for me. Some nice ripe avocado, some scallion. We've got our toasted sesame seeds. We are ready to go. And I think the zucchini's probably good too, so let's put the fish in. Put that down there. See what's going on in here. Roasting wise, we're getting some nice color. Look at that. I think what I'm gonna do is put the fish on this rack, turn these up like so, and I believe that I'm gonna leave the zucchini right there and let it finish by broiling. We'll get some nice crispy top on it, eh? So let's take this out. It's hot. Let's move the rack to broil. Let's set this to broil. And now, let's take this nicely glazed Alaskan salmon, wild salmon. The only fish I'll eat is wild. No farm fish, please. You go to the fish market, look for wild caught fish. Okay, now, what we're gonna do, this is Alaskan salmon and we're cooking it Asian style, but we're cooking it via the Canadian fish cooking method. What's the Canadian fish cooking method? I'll explain. Let's get it up here. Move the camera up. Let's get in there. All right. The thickest part of the fish is right here. And I'm guessing that's almost an inch. It's about 3/4 maybe. Here it gets thinner, but that'll be that much dipped down from the broiler. The Canadian fish cookery method says no matter what your fish is, doesn't matter what type, doesn't matter how you're cooking it, broiling it, steaming it, pan frying it, the thickest part of the fish, you cook 10 minutes to the inch. Now, that's about 3/4. If I pop this in, I'm gonna guess 8 minutes. And what are we doing here? The smart Breville. Whoops. You didn't even see that, but it's in. So I'll reposition. Look at the clock on the smart. 8 minutes. Canadian fish cookery method. 3/4 to the inch. 3/4 of an inch, thickest part of that salmon. 10 minutes to the inch. I'll see you in 7 minutes and 54, 53, 52 seconds. All right, that fish has less than 2 minutes to go. Let's check on our rice. Look at that color from the turmeric right there. Same thing you get from saffron. Fluff it up, it's perfect. Absorbed all the water. Give it a little taste. Oh, what a sweet flavor from the turmeric. With the black pepper, beautiful flavor. So let's take some of that rice. 30 seconds on the fish. So no danger in this getting too cold on us. It's still hot. You can see the steam coming off it. A little bit of turmeric rice. Let's top that. Let's take our avocado, put that here. I always like just a few grains of salt on my avocado, and maybe a pinch of lemon. Just a couple drops. Let's put some scallion on the rice. Save some for the fish, and there's the fish. Let's pull it over. Exquisite. I'm not going to taste the avocado on camera. It's a raw avocado. Nothing to see here. Although, delicious, perfectly right. The fish is out of this world. And this was a good call, popping that turmeric in the rice. It was totally improv. I just saw it sitting there. The mirin, oh, the rice is outrageous. I might cook my rice like that all the time. The mirin and the rice wine vinegar, I can't tell you what that's doing on here. It's fantastic. Again, just popped into my head. No recipes here. I'm gonna have to remember that when the zucchini's coming fresh out of the ground. That is something else. It's got a sweetness to it. I taste the mirin. Unbelievable. All right, fantastic dinner. Thank you, the Al guy, for this amazing fish. And the rest of you, I'll see you all for the next episode. Come on, let's do it.